Hi, I'm Ray. This is my apartment. I put together a lot of the furniture on my own in this space, but I'm not a professional interior designer. That's why we have Bethany. And she's gonna give me some tips and tricks on how to optimize my living situation. Let's go ahead and walk through my apartment. This is my couch. It's the first thing that I brought into the space, and it's pretty much what I designed everything around.
Is there a reason that it's away from the wall?
This is actually a giant chalk wall that you could draw on, but I haven't really drawn anything on it recently, and that's why there's like this space in between.
So you wanted like an alleyway so people could draw on the wall? Well, if you do want to save some space and add more space for more seating in your living room, you can push this back to the wall, and then you would probably be able to fit additional seating here. You'd be able to have more people over so you don't have to sit on your floor cushions. I think you unintentionally followed a really significant design rule, which is the rule of lines. You have predominantly horizontal lines in your space, and you've accented it really well with organic shapes, like the curve of this coffee table and with your round plant pot. That's like one of the things that you learn in Design 101. If you did want the space to feel a bit bigger, the rug, it is a little bit small for the space. Because you have the couch forward, it works pretty well. If you were to push this back, you would want to have at least, I'm gonna say like an 8x10 in here, just so that you do feel like you're using the entire space and you're not so confined to this little box. Because when humans see a little box, they tend to stay within the box, which is just something weird that we do. But if you have a bigger rug, then you can, spread out a little bit more and have more seating and anything like that. What's going on here? Looks like you had a system kind of happening. I really love this storage system that you do have. I think that the scale of these little boxes on this shelf is not really gonna work because naturally you're just gonna set things in front of the boxes and you're not gonna be able to pull it out. I have a different alternative like piece that you could use that would work really well that I use for my makeup storage is a tool box. Those big ones with all the different compartments, but mine is actually 4 tools, but it's in that kind of style. And I just made labels for each of the drawers with a label maker. And it keeps me contained.
I built these shelves out of piping and some just like baseboard, and it's for the most part doing what it's supposed to do, but this is probably the most organized that it's been. But I just feel like it's not really being optimized. The whole point was just like, so I would not have as many boxes, because I have a lot of boxes in my apartment. I find that it's great because you could just toss everything inside of a box, but the problem is, once you toss it inside the box, you don't know what's inside.
Yeah, do you know what's in here? I see you tried to do a sticky note.
It says electric.
There's Christmas decorations in this electrical box.
A BuzzFeed beach ball, half of a styrofoam 1 workout glove, a box for a Apple TV that I...
Throw boxes away. You don't need them. That kind of thing you do not need to hold on to. You do not need to hold on to this. No matter how much you think you're gonna use this box, you most likely won't. I think boxes like this can be your best friend and also your worst friend because of things like this where you just don't know what ends up in them. So if you do have a really good labeling system, you'll be able to, what is that?
I forgot I had this. This is a old camcorder.
Should we film the rest of this on that?
I don't know if this is even 1080.
What I was saying before is if you have a good labeling system, you're less likely to put things that don't belong in that category in the box with the stuff. So I'd say label these boxes, go through them, empty it all out. This is not bad.
It's not bad.
This is not that bad. I see that you have some crystals here. You could put your crystals in here.
I could do that.
On your books so that you can actually see your crystals. You don't charge your crystals in the full moon?
I mean, you get like moonlight come in here sometimes.
So I think that the books and everything are cool. If you're not reading them often, you can just you know, kind of go like this. So I would go like this, and then you can put a little crystal shrine right here, and so you can see everything.
That works. I'm like, because now you can actually see stuff.
Yeah. And I think that already looks a little bit more put together. Like you could take a photo of that and people would think it's a put together shelf, but you do need something right here.
I'm trying to get better at storing and saving the right things, because I collect a bunch of random stuff that I end up forgetting about. But there are certain things that, you know, I end up spending a good amount of time on that I want to keep, that are sentimental. Like this sword.
A real sword. I thought it was gonna be wood. Well, you have this whole shelf that you're dedicating just to your weapons. If you do want to display your weapons, it could be really cool to mount them above your couch or mount them above your TV in like a crossbow kind of. It could be pretty cool. And then you would have this whole shelf to style and do something else with. Just because you don't actually see what this is if it's just laying down like that. So overall, I think this shelf is like pretty good, and I think this storage, you just need to go through it and figure out what you're actually gonna use it for. This is basically not being used.
Yeah.
So if you did want to hide your power cords, I like the trick where you put it in some sort of storage box, one with like a slit in it like that one, and feed the cords through it so that they go out the back, and then you can keep the extra cord in the box that's not showing, but you can still access it from the top and be able to plug things in. That just helps keep cords, you know, as minimal as possible. But that's all I really have to say with
Compared
that.
to this shelf.
Compared to this one.
This shelf has a lot of stuff. It's a little cluttered.
I think you just need a really solid storage piece. Like what I was saying before, like a big industrial kind of toolbox, and have a place for everything labeled, and then you'll be able to style this shelf with more alcohol if you wanted to. If you had a big piece over in that corner that would house, you know, your silicone that you've been collecting. It's tough because you don't have a garage, obviously, to be able to put up a big pegboard and...
Pegboard like that one?
Not quite. Those pegs are pretty big, and you could, I mean, I love that. I love that you have it just basically as like an art installation.
It's like the biggest pen shelf. I keep my pens and my Post-its and my tape.
Talk about these. These are my favorite things.
These were actually from an old DIY tutorial that I made a few years back, and they're plaster dragon eggs. I just kept them all these years because I'm surprised that they haven't broken throughout all the different moves.
They're really cool, and I really like them. And I do really like these shelves that you built. I think this is a really good, cool solution. You could get little smaller things to put these in if you didn't want the visual clutter. But overall, I think it's pretty decently organized. I don't think there's too many things wrong with it. And I do like that it's kind of turned into like an art piece in itself. Yeah. I think that you could definitely show that off a little bit more. Keep collecting art, little quirky things, and putting it on here.
Thanks for checking out my space and fixing what I have. I'm gonna try to make sure that it works.
Thanks for having me.
I'm taking Bethany's advice, and I'm finally cleaning out my storage boxes, and all of these guys have literally just been collecting dust inside a storage box, so I'm finally gonna throw them out because, like Bethany said, don't hold on to boxes. I took Bethany's advice and I pushed the couch a little closer to the wall, and it definitely opened up the room. So much room that I even had enough space to install a new chair closer to the window. The carpet does look a little smaller, but I'm planning to change that off later on. Bethany suggested having a storage system with really good labels, so I'm still keeping the boxes, but I decided to move them forward so that they could still be used and be easily accessed, and this way it would hide all of the clutter behind the boxes. I also got a label maker so that I could finally print out some labels so everything inside those boxes can be put away and labeled properly. The shelf is still a little bit of a mess, but I'm planning on finding something new so that it could be cleaned up, but all of this is a work in progress. Overall, I'm really happy with all of the little changes Bethany told me to do to the apartment. and I feel like it's a little bit more put together than it was before she got here.